Now you know how all the pieces move. Maybe you're thinking you've got this game all figured out. Not so simple, chess kids. Hold your horses there. We're just getting started. You may have heard of this word before called checkmate, and we'll get there soon. But buried within the word checkmate is the word check. That's what I want to talk about with you today. Check is defined as your king being in danger. It's the only time in chess that you have to do something. We're not asking, we're telling. You've got to get your king out of danger. Let's first look at how we can put the king in danger. In this chess position, it's black to move. Let's find a way to put the white king in danger. Well, here's one way. We'll pick up our rook and we'll travel up to the square h4. Do you see how the rook is aiming at the white king? The king is definitely in danger. It reminds me of a game of dodgeball. The rook is throwing a ball at the white king, and that white king better do something about it. When you're playing dodgeball, you don't just stand there when the ball is coming toward your head. Okay, let's find another way that black can throw a dodgeball at the white king. What? Sticking with the rook, how about if the rook travels sideways to the square e1? The white king is once again being put in danger. That's not the only piece that can put the white king in danger. Let's check out Mr. Bishop sitting up here on his starting square. Well, if the bishop travels just one square to b7, do you see how the bishop is aiming at the white king? Yep, and in chess we would say that the white king is in check. That simply means that he's in danger. Let's go back. A good challenge question is for you to pause your video right here and try to figure out how many different moves could black make to put the white king in check. Try to spot all of them. Go ahead and pause your videos. Okay, well, there was a lot. You probably had to count with both of your hands. We already talked about the move rook h4. We already talked about the move rook to e1. And we already talked about the move bishop to b7. So we're at 3. The bishop could also travel to the square f5. That would be number 4. And don't forget about the knight. The knight could go 1, 2, turn, and land on the square d6. That's the 5th way. The knight could also go 1, 2, turn. That would be the 6th way, but we're still not done. You learned in the opening video pawns can travel 2 squares on their home base. This pawn is on its home base, and if he travels 2 squares, the king would be in danger. There are 7 different ways black could put the white king in danger. Imagine if I'd given black a queen, we would have had even more. But okay, let's just pick one of those 7 ways. Let's go back to this move bishop to b7. Now I told you, there's something you have to do when your king's in danger. It's kind of like your mom telling you you've got to do your chores before you can go out and play. When your king is in danger, you have to get him safe on the next turn. You can't wait. You can't get around to it later. No procrastinating here, okay? There are 3 ways to get your king out of danger. We're going to use the abbreviation CPR. You may have heard that one before. CPR is when you're trying to help somebody in a time of need. Well, we're going to try to help that white king, okay? The C in CPR stands for capture. If you capture the piece putting you in check, then your king will be safe. Which white piece can capture the bishop? Yep, it's time for the knight to shine again. We've got 1, 2, turn. The bishop is captured, and if the bishop is not on the chessboard, the king is safe. Going back to dodgeball, it'd be kind of like just taking the ball away from the other team, right? You can't get hit by the ball if there isn't a ball. Okay, the second letter in CPR is P. That stands for protect. And protect is kind of like to block, to put something in the way. This bishop has 2 blank squares before it gets to the white king. If we put a piece on one of those 2 squares, the king will be safe because bishops can't jump over pieces. In dodgeball, this would be like if a ball is coming at you and you put your best friend in the way. Now, what would happen is you'd be safe, but you would also need a new best friend. That wouldn't be very nice. But in chess, the king is so important that it's okay to put a different piece in the way to protect the king. So if we move this pawn 1 square forward, that protects the king from the bishop. Let's go back. Bishop to b7. We've talked about capture. We've talked about protect. The R in CPR stands for run away. And this is what you're most likely to do if you're playing dodgeball. Somebody throws the ball at you, you get out of the way. You don't have to make a big giant step. Sometimes just moving 1 foot will get you out of the way of the ball. The king, of course, can only take one little itty-bitty step since he only moves 1 square at a time. Let's say the king travels to the square e3. Is he safe? Let's make extra sure. The bishop only travels on the white squares. The bishop can't get him. The rook is not aiming at him. He's way too far away from the knight, so I think he's safe. There were lots of other good choices. I like the move king d3. I also like the move king f4. I could be okay with king e5. King f5 is also okay. What I'm not okay with is the move king to d5. If you move your king to this square, the bishop will still be aiming at you. It would be like in dodgeball. If somebody throws the ball at you and you travel directly in the direction of the ball, that wouldn't make very much sense. By the way, in a real chess game, if somebody leaves their king in check at the end of his or her turn, you can't capture the king, unfortunately. You have to tell your opponent to take the move back and make a different chess move. Now, if you're playing on ChessKid.com, the computer won't even let you travel into check. If I try to put my king on this square and I let go, look at that. The computer does the take back for me, basically telling me to make a new chess move. Let's review, chess kids. When somebody puts your king in danger, it's called check. There are 3 ways to get out of check. C, P, R. Capture, protect, run away. You won't always have all 3 options at your use. You've got to pick one and you've got to do it right away.